in Baltimore and New Zealand numbered, and to come home not only to spring training baseball on the Masson Network that Mr. Angelos and Sons have put together for us, a new ballpark for the Nats. We've got the Combine in order right now, but the Caps, the Wizards, the Terps keeping me very busy and keeping this guy just as busy down in Washington, D.C. He anchors and reports sports for WTOP down there. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at DavPresto. I like that the E is silent and the N is silent. We welcome Dave Preston back onto the program. He's also at Preston Perspective out on WordPress and at WTOP.com. Hey, man, Tuesday night, Terps had their hands full, and we all had our hands full with the remote controls, I think, Dave, right?
Well, yeah, because you had Golden State in town, Kevin Durant getting banged up, a local guy that everybody was... Actually, I was in the visiting area where all the kids were screaming for his autograph. A lot of kids didn't get his autograph, and the Warriors only got maybe a minute's worth of his time that night, and everybody was focused on two college basketball games. Georgetown loses for the fourth straight time, while Maryland snaps a three-game losing streak. The Terrapins did just enough against a bad Rutgers team to end what was a really rough February. They lost. They were 20-2 entering the month. Everybody was thinking about maybe a Big Ten championship. Now they're just looking to get into the double bye next week when the tournament is being played at Verizon Center.
You know, I've said this all week, Dave. It's going to be a big deal next week. And, you know, all the hand-wringing about leaving the ACC, we all knew it was about the money, and the money's nice and all that. But all of this boo-hooing about Duke and Carolina and Tobacco Road and Greensboro, I have a feeling next week when all of these teams bring their fan bases in for the Cherry Blossoms and the capital of the free world. And, you know, I think it's going to be a big hootenanny next weekend. And certainly it's a wide-open tournament. I mean, I'll give Purdue and I'll give Wisconsin their props. Certainly Purdue with the best player in the tournament. But this is where the Mello Trimbles and the other guys that have been the outsiders looking in will be looking to dominate, make a name for themselves at home. And this is Maryland's host tournament for the first time and maybe the last time for a little while, because this thing's pretty used to being out in Chicago and Indianapolis, and I'm sure Minnesota will get it before it's all over with. And I know next year it's at the Garden in New York.
And, Nestor, I think Maryland fans just want their stay in this tournament to be longer than the last time it was here when they had that 8-9 game. They were the first team bounced from the ACC tournament. They lost to Clemson, heaven forbid, and wound up going to the NIT. I think what's special about this Baltimore-Washington corridor is that you have a lot of people from outside the region who went to school at these Big Ten schools, have moved into the area. So you're going to see, I think, great crowds because the tournament's never been here. A lot of schools have even yet to play in College Park or maybe just one or two games. So it's a great chance for the Northwestern faithful, the Purdue faithful, the Indiana faithful, the Michigan people who have moved into the area over the years, who have been without a local outlet for their conference teams. Now they're going to have that next week. I expect the packed house at Verizon Center.
Well, a lot more heat on this Michigan State game this weekend than Maryland would have liked when they were 20-2. As you pointed out, got to win, got to get the double bye, got to stay out of playing games on Thursday of next week. And Michigan State streaking. Look, you know, for Maryland, okay, it's a nice confidence booster to beat Rutgers, but I still think they're going to struggle against any team with size inside.
I think what you're seeing this winter is that they're good against teams with one big man, but against the Wisconsins that have the Nigel Hayes and the Ethan Happ, they don't fare as well. You look at a Purdue team that came in with Isaac Haas and Caleb Swanigan, again, two bigs. Maryland has a serviceable big man in DeMonte Dodd, and they had that rotation before Checo got hurt, but now I think, moving forward, Coach Mark Turgeon is realizing that, you know what, in order to compete for the best in the Big Ten, we've got to have at least two bigs who can be skillful down low. Coming from an ACC where there was a lot more finesse, a lot of shooting guards, small forwards getting the spotlight, Big Ten is a bumper car league, so to speak, and moving forward, they've got to be able to compete against teams with size. They haven't been able to do that in the last month. Next week, I think rebounding and defense travel well anywhere. I think it'll be key for them to get a good start on the glass in the Big Ten tournament.
You know what, man? I've been doing radio 25 years. I don't know that I've ever heard anyone use a word better than you just did. You called DeMonte Dodd serviceable.
Hey.
Hey, that's a great word. I don't even know if it fits or not. I'm trying to add that up. I do know, as Luke says, well, at least he has 5 fouls to give.
Well, I mean, the thing is, on a perfect team, he's a decent big man coming off the bench, and he's going to give you 5 fouls. He's going to block some shots. He's not the best defender. His offensive game is like the tide. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. On a team where you've got a Diamond Stone or even another decent, guy, Robert Carter Jr., he is somebody who can help bring things to the table. This season, he's given the team kind of a donut look. He gives you great effort, but unfortunately he doesn't give you great execution. He's been a fantastic program player for this team over the last 4 years. He could have sulked last year when they brought in more talented players who jumped ahead of him all of a sudden. And he's going to leave a guy who gets a handshake and a hug from Coach Mark Turgeon. But is he a guy who can take you to the next level? No. But he's been a decent. He's been a good kid within the program.
I know he's a good kid. And 2 years ago, when I saw his size and I saw some potential, then he kind of hid last year. I was kind of like everyone else, hoping, well, maybe he's a guy that's going to be a 8.12 rebound a game guy. Maybe he'll figure out that part of his size inside. It hasn't happened. Meanwhile, Melo Trimble, I don't want to say disappointing. I know he poured in 30 points a couple times a few weeks ago when I was on the other side of the world. But in order for them to go anywhere, in order for them to play 5 or 6 more games here this year, he's going to have to really shine in a way that we haven't seen in a while. And I think we saw more of that in November, December, quite frankly, not so much in Big Ten play. He may have played himself into a senior season after thinking he might have been gone after his freshman season, right?
I know that's the big thing, is that he very well could have been gone 2 years ago and would have been a top 15, 20 pick. Be cashing a paycheck right now in the association, maybe not playing a lot. His game still needed some polish. And what's interesting about what you just said, a guy who could have left a few years ago who's now maybe playing his way into his senior season, Terrence Morris on the Final Four team way back when in 2001 is a guy who could have left after his sophomore year, stuck through, wound up not getting the drafted where he thought he would after leaving in 2001, but a guy who stayed in the program benefited from him, while he, unfortunately, if he had left after 2 years, his draft stock would have been a lot higher, would have made a lot more money on that initial contract. I think Melo's, it's been a rough go for him this year because a lot has been expected of him, especially with the freshman trio in the last month, kind of hitting the wall. Coach Mark Turgeon won't say that they're hitting the wall, but you have the feel that this team is just, they're kind of tired out there. And, maybe, a couple days off before the Big Ten tournament, if they get that double bye, they'll be able to get their legs back.
Well, they're going to need him next weekend if they're going to advance, right? I mean,
yeah.
The disappointment is they just weren't any good at home, right? I mean, after 20-2, you take the loss, Purdue, okay, fine, but the last week and a half was very, very disappointing. And it's incredible how well they play on the road. It really is. Maybe that bodes well for the tournament, though, right? The big tournament.
Right, and it does bode well. A lot of people have them ticketed into that 5, 6, 7 corridor, now more 6 or 7. So they're going to get a tough draw in that first round of the NCAA tournament. I think what really sticks out is that, with the exception of maybe home to Nebraska, on the road to Penn State, they don't have many bad losses. Iowa is a team that is much better than their record would lead you to believe. There's always that one team that doesn't make the NCAA tournament that, due to tough losses here and there, they wind up with 13, 14 losses, and that's too much for the committee. But I think Iowa is a much better team than a lot of people thought. Minnesota's a team that's hitting their stride. The game that sticks out for me is going to Penn State and losing the way they did against even the Nittany Lions, even though they've made they're not a Big Ten basketball team that you should fear, and that's their Minnesota this year. Like when they went to Minneapolis last winter and lost to the Golden Gophers.
We are on the line with Dave Preston. He covers all things Terps as well as the DC sports scene at WTOP. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at DavPresto. Last thing for you, it is exciting, right? I mean, being down there, I know you're in the middle of all of it, but the Wizards and the Caps, we're on the periphery up here, but I'm watching every night, and I've told people all week long, Tuesday night kind of wore me out. I've been a Caps fan forever. I think, everybody's got a little closet Wizards fan in them and hoping that they're doing well. It's the kind of games against Tuesday night and when they're hanging in that exciting game with LeBron that you believe that, Toronto, Atlanta, Chicago, whoever they have to see next month, that in a short series they're going to be able to hold their own. And certainly John Wall and Bradley Beal, they've really emerged.
And they've played really well. The two other guys who have really stepped forward, Otto Porter has found that next level that I think a lot of people thought that he should have found under Randy Whitman, but the coach didn't trust him enough over the last couple of years. He's really stepped forward. Also, Markieff Morris, with the benefit of having a training camp with the team. He was a midwinter pickup last year, and even though he had some nice nights, he never really was in the flow. Those two guys have really stepped forward and have really made this starting five a tough one to defend. They've gone out, they've added Bojan Bogdanovic. Word is they're adding Jennings from the Knicks after he gets waived. So the key for them is to get a little punch off the bench because that's been a glaring weakness for this team. And who would have thought that a late February game against Golden State at Verizon Center would be exciting? We've seen a lot of bad basketball in midwinter in D.C. when you talk about the Bullets/Wizards. And to have the games, the level of games that we've had has just been an unexpected blessing. They play Toronto twice in the next 3 days. They win both. They move ahead, and they lock down third place in the Eastern Conference.
It's going to be good times. Dave, I appreciate the visit. Don't be a stranger around here. It's great having you on the program. We'll send everybody out to follow you on Twitter at DavPresto. I know you got to roll out the back door. Good visit, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks again, Nestor.
You got it. Dave Preston from WTOP in D.C., monitoring all things Terps as well as the Caps and the Wizards. We've been doing a lot of that, but also we're not going to forget about the Orioles in spring training. Anything you miss around here you can find in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault. We've had a hell of a week here. I was supposed to be out at the Combine in Indianapolis. All those guests we're just going to get next week, so fear not. If you're looking for Combine coverage, you'll get plenty of that on the backside next week, so that'll be good fun. Also heard from Coach John Harbaugh on Wednesday morning. We got our London trip on sale. The schedule's coming out in a couple weeks. Green Bay, Nashville, Oakland, big trips ahead, as well as head coach Barry Trotz joining us here in Baltimore on March 20th for the Bone Marrow Registry. For There Goes My Hero. So if you want to come out, rock your red. I'm wearing my Caps Courage hat right now. It's probably my favorite hat. I love this hat. I should have taken it to Australia with me, take some pictures. But if you want to find me anytime, anywhere, Nasty at WNST.net does that out on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and streaming live on our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I'm Nestor. This is WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.